And we're live. Hello, Facebook. Hello, everyone. Hello, patrons who will hear this in the audio file in your patron feed if you ever use Patreon. So, good evening. Welcome to the pre-show of the show. We're not the actual show. This is the pre-show. Aramis, how are you, sir? Can I get a sound, please?
I was trying, but you wouldn't shut the fuck up.
Wow. Wow, that's happening today. Okay, then. That's where we are today. So,
how's that for your sound level?
Wow. Wow, the pain, dude. It just hurts my heart a little bit. And actually, I pegged the boards.
And it nourishes my soul.
It would. You're just a lovely, lovely man whom I adore. I do. I think you're fantastic and stuff. So.
But to your question, I am good.
Good. Yeah, and just keep talking. I'm gonna pull you back a little bit. I think you were pegging. So.
That's kind of an interesting thing to be doing.
Oh, I never thought of it that way. Yeah, you're not wrong. All right. Well,
that's not my particular jar of jam right there.
Hey, you know what? It could be. There ain't nothing wrong with that.
No. I'm not interested in that at all.
And this just, you know what? And I'd like to know for the record, I haven't had a drop of beer yet. Like, we're doing this and hey, Parkman, hello.
I'll know for the record, I haven't had a drop of beer like ever.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's funny. I'll talk about this maybe I'll just talk about this now because, I won't make this joke during the show. But my wife's dad is in the hospital, right? But I just found out that our local liquor store is closing. It's closed. And my wife she just goes, that is literally the worst news I could ever hear. And I'm just like, oh, okay.
All about perspective.
A little bit perspective. Absolutely.
It's all about perspective. Because if you think about it, when you get other bad news, for most people, they go to the liquor store.
Yes.
To self-medicate.
My wife is absolutely no exception to that.
And now her pharmacy, with air quotes, is closed.
Yeah, but we found a better one down in Amsterdam. It's just farther to get to, and the prices were cheaper. So,
see, someone like me, I just sit in existential dread because I don't drink.
It's a beautiful thing.
I just wallow in the misery.
Yes, see, you need either the Lord or alcohol, and maybe both.
And I got neither.
I know you got neither one. You're.
I got neither.
Yeah. Oh wow, a new number one. Interesting. Ooh. I am looking forward to State of Standard. All right. This is going to be a show. We're going to have a show. All right. So, yeah.
Or digging my background. I went old school.
Yeah, I know. The old school is nice. So, my background is a hint of what you will encounter Wednesday. Unless Steve comes in with, like, degenerate crap. And that's the problem. I'm like, this deck is a new deck. I want to play it.
Well, I mean, Brea
but it's stuck in Feeve,
Brea. I mean, that's a lateral move from Atraxa, really.
Hey, Dilla, how are you? Okay, so yeah, we don't have a main two. Maybe we'll fall into one. Like, there's no news, right? Nothing. It's kind of quiet.
I mean, I've been busy too, to be fair.
Yeah, like we both have. Yeah. So we might be able to get away with, a main one, and
it might be like a hybrid combat / main two.
Yeah, I could see
combat that turns into a discussion.
I don't want. There's not much going on with Arena. There's not much. I mean, they put out a state of the game like a week and a half ago, but the state of the game has kind of turned into nothing more than an advertisement. So
yeah, and I mean, I've been playing some Arena, but it's been again mostly Brawl, and I don't have fun with it anymore.
And Dilla's a little salty at getting his name wrong. Hey, Peck. Okay. So yeah, you don't watch the Orville yet, right? You haven't hip to that.
I have not watched any of the Orville. No.
All right.
I try to
I'm glad I did my
TV
recording.
Obsessions.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
I have a limited list, and because limited time. So
yeah, but this
there's only
that's
so
a
many
show
shows that I
you
can
may-
watch.
You may dig that show. I'm not even kidding. All right, so patrons, you're about to hear a cool sound effect that will tell me where to edit this down. So I will choose this.
Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
All right, that'll be where I cut it. So, all right, and I think we're ready. If you're ready.
Let me just make sure my inputs are good.
Oh shit, that's right. We record this stuff.
Yeah,
Maybe I should
yeah.
start Mixpad. What do you think?
Might be a good idea.
Yeah. Sorry, Park. Just having some fun. Oh, yeah. Park left, man. He's like, I'm done. You chased him away, Dylan. Way to chase away one of our patrons.
He has become the Sultan of Sulk.
Yes. No, I'm kidding. He hasn't gone anywhere.
Yeah.
If anywhere, he's probably on the potty. Let me check the sound on that. Yep, we're good there. All right, let's put that over
Yeah,
there.
I think I'm good.
All right, me too. So you're over the red button?
Sure.
All right. Let me move my stream deck to someplace where my left hand can reach it. All righty. So 3, 2, 1, click. Greetings, salutations, and welcome to the PlanesTalkers Podcast, a show by casuals for casuals. I'm your host, Will Benson, joined as always by my, hey, I am loving this summer weather and summer loving, and it had me a blast, co-host Aramis. Aramis, sir, how are you tonight?
Can't focus on the weather. I just keep building decks.
Yeah, you've kind of gone a little, man, it's like you're almost, like, I almost want to get you a, like, get a meeting for you or something, like, hello, my name is Aramis, and I keep building commander.
The light at the end of the tunnel. It's I'm almost done.
Yes, but once you hit 32, I'm sure you'll never build a deck again. Dude, you're going to be one of those cats who's, when you build your new house, you're going to be like, I need a magic room, and it needs 65,000 feet of shelving.
Well, there's going to be a room dedicated to, gaming / entertainment. So
Yes.
yeah, there's going to probably be, in-wall bookshelves that are going to be filled with commander decks.
That's fantastic. So anyway, we're here in Untap, and before we begin tonight, we'd like to remind you that this episode and every episode of the PlanesTalkers Podcast is sponsored by Kerwin's Game Store. Kerwin's Game Store is New York State's premier source for collectible card games, tabletop games, miniatures, comic books, retro video games, and toys. With their clean, open gaming area available to everyone, Kerwin's provides a fun and inviting atmosphere for new and experienced gamers alike. Kerwin's has locations in both Catskill, New York, and on the second floor of the Poughkeepsie Gallery in Poughkeepsie, New York, and Adventure... I can never remember that second word.
Adventure awaits, man.
Adventure Awaits, that's it, is in Nyack, New York. I really need to get that into, like, the script.
Yeah.
Adventure Awaits is in Nyack, New York. And you know what? Those 3 locations are incredibly awesome retail locations. They're the best place to go in gaming. They also have a really great website. You can find them at KGS Online. That is KiteGoSamuelOnline.com. And don't forget, you get 5% off any online order when you use the promo code PlanesTalkers at checkout.
Promo toads, you don't want to lick those.
Yeah,
you just
don't
see
lick the
things.
promo toads, because they're not very friendly. We also want to recognize our patrons, our rare level patrons are Spencer, Chiba Tank, Bell, Levi, George, David, Brian, Apollo, Muertes, Parkman, and Dragon D's Nuts. Ding! Still one of the best names ever. And we have our producer level patrons, John, Jacob, Jamie, and Vic. See what I did there? I just did it in the rhythm. You did it in your head, though. It's called mind control. It's why I make every password when I reset it for somebody, Will is awesome 2022 ! So these people really help out the show in so very, very, very many ways. One thing they all get, however, is the chance to play with us on our Wednesday Commander Craft broadcasts. If you want to get in on that, just go to patreon.com/planestalkers. They also get first slot in for Win-A-Boxes. The Producers Lounge is talking about trying to do a Win-A-Box somehow this summer, because this is a long time to wait for another tournament. So we may be trying to put something together. I may try to do it around Second Life, or Extra Life, not Second Life. Nobody wants to do Second Life anymore. Extra Life. So We're going to talk a little bit more about that, so stay tuned. We want to remind you as well that Commander Craft is our Wednesday show where we play listeners like you using webcams and four-person Commander. We're back in the studio again this week. We are going to be joined by one of the OG Commander Crafters. It looks like Scuba Steve, is going to be playing with us on Wednesday for Game 1 at least. We'll be looking, patrons, you got a little announcement this morning if you want to play on Wednesday with us. Otherwise, I'll open it up to the field tomorrow morning as normal. So, and let's see here. Oh, it's okay, you're talking. I wanted to make sure. I saw you typed, so I immediately was like, did I miss Pam? So,
Yeah, nope, not yet.
All right, so finally, we are proud to be the flagship podcast for the PlanesTalkers Network of Podcast. Our sister show, Cantrip Cartel, has been going very well. They're doing fantastic. They're on Anchor at anchor.fm/Cantrip Cartel, and you can download them on most podcatchers. For more, hit them up on our Discord at discord.planestalkerspodcast.com. Finally, we're proud to remind you that we are a part of the Geek to Geek Media Network. This is a network of geeky podcasts dedicated to promoting positivity and inclusion, as well as just showcasing some really great content. You definitely want to check it out. They have a ton of great podcasts and articles and everything else. Just go to geektogeekmedia.com, but we're still in Untap. So I'm going to untap this really great but low, this is a low end, low volume here, called Leffe, but it's so dang refreshing. So it's a great beer. I'm going to untap that tonight, and then I'll ask my friend Aramis, sir, how the hell are you?
I'll use it with a qualifier. I am doing fine. Rest of the fam, we'll see. Pam's got the old infect counter on her.
Oh no!
She got into some poison ivy or poison oak over the weekend, and it is ripping up her arm something bad. So,
Cantrip Cartel will never be the main show. We're separate shows. I hate to interrupt. Separate but equal. We're all equal. Go on, sorry.
No, it's fine. So,
Poison
we
oak.
got,
That's not cool though. Is she doing
poison
all right?
nasty. She's okay. It's just the arm it's doing the whole itchy, rashy, oozy, drippy thing, which is kind of gross. So she's got some calamine lotion. We got some meds from the pharmacy, and she's hoping to be on the mend pretty quickly. So there is that. But like I said, I'm doing good. I've been building commander decks like crazy the last week or so. I'm only 5 decks away from getting my Project 32 completed, so I'm super happy about that. Although I don't think I'm going to get any more decks done in the near future. It's probably going to be several months down the road before I get any more done.
Cost? Or summer? Summer.
A little bit of both.
A
little bit of both. And it's just, I think, I'm hoping at this rate by the end of the year to have the rest of them done. But anything can happen. But I'm amazed that I have 27 of these things now.
Yeah. So.
But that's me.
Well, that's cool. And we took last week off. Guys, I'm gonna shoot straight with you. We didn't do it on purpose. Here's what happened. We got back Sunday, my wife and I, and for some reason, I didn't realize that Monday was Monday. I thought Monday was Sunday. So I got to about 7, or I think I got to like 8:30, and I was like, oh yeah, it's Monday. Well, Aramis didn't text me, so you know what? Whatever. So sorry about that, but we kind of laid that groundwork anyway that, there's going to be weeks on and weeks off. So that's why we weren't on the air. There was nothing major going on. I mean, I went home last weekend, which was fantastic. Like, it's just really nice to go home, and did a lot with my church peeps and stuff, and then saw some friends and things of that nature, and then went to dinner at Delmonico's, and that was really cool because basically my pastor and his wife just basically, just railed on me for an entire 2 hours in front of my wife. It was really great. Just every inside joke you can think of. So
sorry, I missed that.
Oh yeah, it was fantastic. My wife didn't stop laughing once. And then, last week was it was cool. And then I had to go back home Sunday for my cousin Danielle's, for her memorial service. Well, it was more like this was the celebration of life. The memorial service happened the day before. And, I wasn't going to go out for 2 days. So I went yesterday for like the celebration of life. And it was bittersweet. It was so cool to be around my family. It was very cool to be around this side of my family that I don't see very often anymore. And I got to spend some really great quality time with my aunt. And, I saw my uncle and, what do you say? You can't say anything. It's like, my heart still breaks for him. But, and otherwise, it's been work and, I built another deck. So I'll have a new deck tomorrow and 3 guesses on who it is. So.
Hey, look, crazy 4-color commander.
I do have a type. So, very excited for that, though. So, I'm looking forward to Wednesday night. We'll see how things go. I was hoping Anthony could play, because then it's OG Commander Craft. But if he can't, it'll be kind of cool to work some new people in. I'm sure once I put it out on the Discord, if Nick's anywhere near it, he'll hop on, because he loves to play Steve. So, but yeah, I'm just looking forward to it. I didn't get a lot of Magic in. I haven't really played a lot. You went to... You know what? That'll be part of main one. We'll talk about pre-release there. So let's kind of pivot from that. Let's go to upkeep stage here. So, we're going to talk the state of standard in main one, talk about what's changed there. And there have been some movement. Things are still settling out. And then we're going to talk a little bit of Baldur's Gate overall thoughts, but I want to also hear Aramis did get to a pre-release this weekend. So I'd love to hear how he did. And then we're going to have combat. We actually do have a combat tonight. And main 2, combat may spill into main 2. We honestly, we don't have a topic for main 2. So we might try to get all of our work in on main 1, which you do on some turns. So if somebody has an idea, though, and you're watching the show, feel free to send us in a little request here. But if it's all right with you, man, why don't we get to the main phase?
For it.
All right.
Main phase.
All right, main phase. So we have had some serious movement in Standard of late. I was not prepared for Grixis Vampires to come out of the woodwork. That's new. I knew Grixis was going to be something. I just didn't know it was going to be vampires. It's kind of interesting.
It kind of makes sense. Because
it does.
Black and Red was a big vampire theme for Crimson Vow,
right?
So,
and it is playing with a whole lot of Innistrad cards. It's got Bloodthirsty Adversary. It's got the Harvester, but then it throws in Tenacious Underdog because he blitzes.
Mm-hmm.
Corpse Appraiser, which is another Vampy. And Evelyn the Covetous. So, yeah, Vampires, I didn't realize how many toys Vampire was getting with this set. So, I for one, had an amazing pre-release. 2 technically $45 for $80 worth of value. Ah, cool. $45 pre-release packs? Oh, we can talk about that. So, and then it was playing. So, tell me a little bit about this deck. Obviously, it's using a bit of expressive iteration because if you're using red and blue, why wouldn't you? Is it using more of, it looks like targeted removal, not really, it's not even really control-y. It's almost mid-rangey and Meat Hook Massacre.
This is kind of a mid-range strategy by the looks of it.
Yeah.
Based on my initial glance of the list. It's running Meat Hook Massacre because why wouldn't you if you're running
absolutely.
black? Fable of the Mirror Breaker is obviously there to get some value out of some of these creatures. It could be to get maybe to get some value out of Bloodthirsty Adversary. What other ETBs here? There's get extra Corpse Appraisers.
Yeah, so it's
triggers
not
off of
really
Evelyn.
Control-y, which Grixis tends to be. It's actually
this
mid-range.
Kind of mid-rangey, a lot of good synergies.
The Abandoned Mire.
This is.
Yeah.
I like it.
I do too.
It seems aggressive. It seems aggressive enough
I may
that
try
it
to
can
play
win
it
quickly, but it seems like also that it can take control and let the game drag out if it needs to.
Well, it has I see only really one card that has more than 3 mana cost, or 2 cards, and Meat Hook Massacre, which is an X. But I mean, it seems like a pretty low to the ground, coming underneath, and yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. And then the second one is Jeskai Hinata, because why wouldn't you play Hinata? So,
I mean, there's Jeskai Hinata, Jeskai Control, so there's a lot of Jeskai.
yeah.
If you combine the 2 decks, actually, Jeskai is the #1 color combination in the format.
Oh yeah, Jeskai Control and Jeskai. Well, the difference between Hinata and Control is probably Hinata. Because the Control isn't running Hinata, is it? Which it should. I don't know why you wouldn't.
No, the list that we're getting is Jeskai Storm.
Yeah.
But that's running Lier, Disciple of the Drowned.
Yeah.
My Hinata. I like it.
Yeah, that's and I mean they're both so okay, you take those two, if we put those two together, they're running at 30%. They're running away with the meta. And then everything is bringing
two
up
different enough decks. Yeah, they're 2 different enough decks that it's not, it's not going to be an issue. But yeah, there's a couple of clear-cut top decks out there right now. I guess the question is how much Capenna is Grixis Vampire running? We got the Underdog, the Appraiser, Evelyn. There's a few cards right there.
Underdog, Appraiser, Evelyn.
And then probably lands. Yeah, the Xander's Lounge.
Which why wouldn't you?
You have to. If you're in this format, you basically have to make Disappears in there.
But not enough to make it a deck.
No, but the ones that are in there are very impactful cards and good for what you want what this deck wants to do. So this deck is abusing ETB triggers. That's what it looks like to me.
Which is your style. I'm surprised like you haven't built this yet, because if you were going to build a standard deck, I could see this being your style.
It could be. I don't tend to like playing Grixis that much.
Yeah, you're more Esper, but Esper took a
Esper.
tumble.
Well, I like Esper. I like Jeskai. I tend to play that a lot. I've played Teamer before, but for some reason, I don't know why Grixis doesn't really speak to me.
See, I like Grixis. I do. It's not my. I usually almost always prefer, a green blue like Teamer or that sort of thing, or even Jund. But I do like Grixis, because especially back when we were getting Nicol Bolas every other release, like that was usually a nice little fun end the game card. So, but yeah, I'm enjoying. I love seeing things go. I kind of love that there's a mono blue tempo trying to work its way up at the very bottom. I'm like,
yeah, I was going to mention that.
Well, I thought you might.
Wonder if it.
What's that?
I was going to say it'd be interesting if it does end up making some kind of a comeback. I mean, Delver of Secrets is still a good card.
I think it'll spike a tournament. I do. I think you'll see this spike a tournament. So
I mean, it went 5-2 in the New Capenna Championship. So.
Yeah, they'll figure it out, because I mean, but yeah, Grixis Vampires. That looks almost like my style of deck. I could see myself playing that deck. So that's kind of exciting. And let's see, is there anything else really? Teamer Control, Esper Midrange, Orzhov.
It's kind of the same characters. It's just the list, the placement's shuffled up quite a bit. I think what you're seeing is really the impact of New Capenna on the metagame, and I think it's really shaking things up as far as what strategies that weren't viable before. Like we were saying, like vampires needed a push.
Yeah.
So New Capenna
pushed them,
gave them that push.
Yes, they did. So I'm kind of excited for that. I'm glad. I'm still kind of a bit surprised we haven't seen a mill deck yet. Some of the rogue stuff that was from the old is still, viable in standard.
I think they lost like
but you got Lord, you got the Lord there that shit can go sideways, especially in a 1v1.
I think this format's too fast for it though.
It might be. So.
I think this format's too fast for Mill, because Mill is one of the hardest ways to win, and the Rogue strategy lost like all of its best synergistic pieces.
Right.
When like the guild chief or whatever her name was, the one drop
Right.
rogue that pumped and milled at the same time. I think it really lost a lot of its punch with that. So
Yeah, it still has hermit crab though. I mean, I
yeah, but that's reliant on landfall, and that's not really Blue's thing. And I mean,
No.
if you start missing land drops, it doesn't do anything.
yeah, you'd have to go blue, black, green probably.
Yeah, and that's not really
It's
that's
not-
not really being pushed right now because it's all the allied colors that are getting all the
Right.
fixing.
So it's an interesting time. I still am like, again, so, you know, and we'll talk about this more in a little bit in the second topic for main one, and especially combat. I mean, so you got to look at Lord Xander and go, okay, so he was obviously a commander card because he doesn't fit anything. You know, like he was obviously a commander card. You know, like Omnath was, where, you know, yes, they banned Omnath 7 seconds after it arrived. Why? Because it was really intended for commander. So
It was also really, really, really good.
oh, it's just busted out loud. I love it.
Whereas, you know, Xander's a commander card, but it's not one of those cards that's like breaking any formats anywhere.
Yeah, I'd love to see if somebody can make that deck work. I think it can work. I think it can spike at least to get into a top 8, maybe. But you might be right. I mean, this is just a fast format with all of the triomes, you know, allied colors in there. I think, yeah. And what do you see? Turbo Mill with dual strike and Tasha's is a thing still. Thanks, Meet Reality. I that would be interesting. If you got a deck list, man, feel free to put it up in like our Discord or, you know, get a link here in the chat. So, but yeah, oh, what do you think, Aramis?
I think it's a faster format than it's had been in the last couple of years, but also more fair, if that makes sense.
I can
There's
agree with
nothing there's nothing out there that is again, I don't think anything needs to get banned. I don't think anything is really problematic. We've been saying this for a few weeks now. Standard's in a good spot. I mean,
It is.
there's churn. You know, stuff is moving around. There's new strategies coming up, beating down the older strategies, but then the older strategies aren't really going away. They're adapting, which is really nice to see. So it's not stale by any means. The problem is going to be the fact that the new Capenna cards were the last injection of new cards until the fall. And this format will get stale eventually, and which is unfortunate, but that happens every
time
year
there's a
around.
long gap.
Well, every time after the last set before rotation, it gets eventually solved, and then
Right.
it just sort of sits there for 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks until the new set comes out.
And I
So-
think that's I could see them doing again with this long. I mean, this is a longer lull than we're used to seeing. And I think a lot of that has to do with the pandemic, as well as, you know, them putting out 2 Innistrad sets back to back. This is a pretty longer lull. I don't remember a lull this long. Usually we see rotation set hit like August-ish, you know, so I don't know. It's an interesting.
Well, they're not gonna. I don't think they're going to like do any like early bans, to shake things up, because I think that's banning for banning's sake, and I don't think they're really interested in doing that, because whatever ulterior motives you think Wizards has aside, they do still have people who want the integrity of the competitive game to stay intact.
Right.
And just banning a card because we want to shake up the format, make you buy new cards, is a little too obvious.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
So,
all right. So let's kind of pivot off of State of Standard. So again, Standard's in a good spot.
yes.
One of the other things we do, Hello, Pam.
He is.
Yes. I'm
Keep that-
sorry
keep that
about the
lotion on your
poison
arm.
ivy. Keep the lotion on the arm. And then
Oh, it's-
tonight, if you could, just take that arm and just wipe it on your husband a little bit. Just at any point,
It puts the lotion on its skin, or else it gets the hose again.
Wow. That'd be great, Meat. Share it in the Discord. That'd be awesome. So let's talk a little bit about the other topic we tend to like to talk about, we're a standard podcast, obviously. But we do talk a bit about Commander as well. Oh, it's nice and oozy, she says. Aramis is gonna sleep in ooze to die. Okay. So let's talk a little bit, though, about Commander, because I've got some interesting thoughts. So why don't we talk a little bit about the pre-release? Why don't you give me your thoughts on Baldur's Gate, the pre-release first, and then Baldur's Gate as a whole, because you've had more experience with it than I have.
Okay. All right. So I went to Kerwin's on Friday night for the pre-release, and Commander Legends 2 Battle for Baldur's Gate Electric Boogaloo, this time it's serious.
Strikes Back.
Strikes Back. I forgot about that one.
Thank you. The Wrath of Khan. No, sorry.
The Wrath of Khan. Yeah. This is a commander focused set, but it's also a set that's built for drafting.
Yes.
So you play commander as a draft, which is a very interesting.
Hey, Matt, thanks for the like, buddy.
It's a very interesting format to play commander as. So the way that it works is the pre-release kits that you get, instead of getting 6 booster packs, you get 3. Okay. And the way Commander Legends works is the Wrath of Karn. That was a low-hanging fruit that we missed.
Oh, we missed that. For those of you not watching the stream at home, Parkman, one of our patrons, comes in with Wrath of Karn. Oh, I feel horrible for missing that.
And we could have gone even farther. Wrath of Karns of Tarkir. Jeez. Damn it. Anyway, so the booster packs for Commander Legends have 20 cards in them instead of 14.
Right.
So that's part of the reason why you're only getting 3 packs instead of 6. Exactly. He'll be here all night. Tip your waitress. So you got to keep the promo that you opened.
Well, good.
And then you open your pack, and normally in a draft, you pick 1 card and pass it to the player on your left until the pack is empty. Open the next pack, take 1 card, pass to the right, back and forth. For this one, you're taking 2 cards each pick.
Okay.
So theoretically, the draft goes a little bit faster. And then from that, you build a 60 card commander deck.
Out of 60 cards.
Out of 60 cards, but you're forgetting, you're adding lands. So
Yeah,
you're really
true.
Using maybe like 45, 46 of them around there. And also the singleton rule does not apply.
Oh, that's sweet.
So so the deck that I drafted, I had 2 command towers, which was great. I tried to get some, as much fixing as I could. Opened a reflecting pool, which was really nice. So you had to, all the other commander rules applied.
Sure.
Color identity, all that stuff.
And
so
you're a
if
good drafter. You draft very well, usually. You're good at limited.
I like limited. Limited is my favorite format. I'm not as good as drafting as I am at sealed.
Right.
But I felt like I drafted a pretty decent deck. It was black and red, and the main commander that I had, I don't remember what his name was. I have to pull up my pre-release kit. Here it is. Convenient. I have it right here. So let's see. I got a Swiftfoot Boots in my draft.
Well, that's good.
A couple charcoal diamonds. So my commander was Saravak Deathbringer. He was a 3/4 for 3 generic and a black. At the beginning of each player's end step, if no permanents left the battlefield this turn, that player loses X life, where X is Saravak's power, and you also choose a background with him. So background is like the new partner mechanic.
Right.
So you had to pick. My second commander was a background, and it was Draconic Cultist, which was a legendary enchantment. And then commander creatures I own have at the beginning of my end step, if a source I control dealt 5 or more damage, I got a 4/4 red dragon flying creature token.
You bastard. How'd you do?
Lost both games.
Ah, very good.
Lost both games.
So is it 4? It's 4-on-4, obviously.
It's 4-player commander. So you break off after it's an 8-player table to draft. You break off into 4-player pods. And I mean, I had fun. Both of the games were really fun. The second game, I was really just about 1 turn away from winning. I probably misplayed the last turn that I had and might have survived if I'd played it a little differently. But it was a blast. They only played 2 rounds. There were 48 people that showed up.
Wow.
It started a little late because a bunch of people came in like right at 6:30 when the tournament was supposed to start, but they let them register, which is fine.
Right.
So we didn't get started. It was supposed to start at 6:30. We didn't get started until almost 7:30.
Oh, jeepers.
And so we drafted. That took like half an hour, and then you had like an hour to build your deck, almost 2 hour and 10 minutes or something crazy like that to build your deck. And then the rounds were like 2 hours a piece.
No kidding. Wow.
So I was still out of there
Late
like midnight, 12:30 around there. But
I know our other store, Flights, they were an all-nighter. They did an all-nighter again.
Yeah, they started at 9 p.m. and I think they ended shortly after 4:30 in the morning.
Right.
But it was a lot of fun. So my impressions of the set, it's a great draft environment. It doesn't have as many.
I'm sorry, I don't do impressions. My training is in psychiatry.
I've been waiting for that. Sorry.
Okay. That reference went over my head anyway.
Oh, it's Airplane 2.
Okay. I'll add that to the list of movies I haven't seen.
Go on.
I think it doesn't have as many like obvious super staples as Commander Legends 1 did. Nothing
incredibly
super
underpowered.
crazy.
Yeah.
I don't think it's incredibly underpowered. I think what they did was they said, we really want to focus on the draft environment for this set. And we want people to experience Commander as a draft format. And I think with that in mind, they did a fantastic job.
I agree.
There's several cards that are going to be going into different decks.
It's Elder Dragons, though, really. Is there anything outside of the Elder Dragons that might be going into different decks?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Some of the backgrounds are really good. You don't have to have them in the command zone. You can have them in the 99, and
Right.
There's some of them that are quite good. There are several new legends that work as commanders that open up new strategies. They touch different parts of the game that maybe other legends hadn't quite done yet. So there's new archetypes that you can build. They reprinted the Battle Bond land, which is really nice.
Well, the ones they
not
did.
a lot.
Yeah.
Not a lot of really good reprints overall. I'm kind of disappointed at that. I feel like would have been a great place to reprint like Dockside Extortionist or Smothering Tithe. Maybe not Rhystic Study, but there could have been I think there could have been more reprints. There were some good ones. Like
a lot of people saying Double Masters is where that stuff might fall in.
Jessica's Will was reprinted, but in one of the Commander precons. It's not in the set proper.
Right.
That's the thing. So I'm not counting that really as a reprint.
And we have to get the precons. Holy crap, that's right. Because next week.
Precons are released next week, or this week actually.
Yeah, this Friday, which means I don't know if I'll be able to get all 4 by next week. We might take it to. You know what? Maybe we'll push the precons out to the June show, because June is the 5th Wednesday. We have 5 Wednesdays this month. Maybe we'll talk. Yeah.
Yeah, Lightning Bolt was
precon
reprinted.
shows in a month.
Nature's Lore was reprinted at Common, which was nice.
Denver Nightwing's Lightning Bolt.
Yeah, Lightning Bolt was reprinted.
Good.
Fireball was reprinted. But it's a good set. I think they learned some lessons from Commander Legends 1. There's nothing here like Hull Breacher. There's nothing here like Opposition Agent. There's nothing
I don't know
here.
how I feel about that though. It's and it's gonna go into our command. It's gonna go into our combat. But I've looked through all the spoilers, and I'm now it's weird because I've listened to other content creators, and they all kind of say the same thing, that it actually sounds an awful lot like what we said during Adventures of the Forgotten Realm, which is, missed opportunity, lower powered decks, lower powered cards. It's kind of just meh, but it's flavorful, and it is. A lot of what's going on in some of these cards is flavorful if you do D&D. And that part is cool. I do think, though, that you're right. Like, not doing Dockside, not doing Smothering Tithe, not doing, cards that are very much a staple.
Staples in the format. Yeah.
I mean, to do, no, we do not need a Jeweled Lotus reprint. The dragons are not too much. The dragons are good. I think the dragons are what you need, and I'm going to get one of each because they're going in my dragon deck. But, because that's what my dragon deck needs, is more degeneracy.
There's a dragon legend that you would like, that's Simic, that lets you play dragons off the top of your deck.
Yeah. That's probably going to go in my deck. Almost assuredly.
Yeah. That one costs 2 mana.
I know.
Yep.
Yeah. So
dragon decks like Dragon and Scion of Dragon and things like that. They got like Tiamat. They got toys.
Yeah, we got toys. Yeah.
They got toys. But it's good to see. Like it's.
But that's the problem. Other than dragons, there wasn't a lot, and I think
There's stuff there.
I don't think this is the last Commander Legends we're gonna see. I think there'll be one every other year. I think, and that's gonna kind of take us to combat. So I mean, I'm just gonna hit it because that,
Fire away.
Combat phase.
So here's the combat phase: is that I'm posing the question with Commander Legends. It does appear that Wizards is introducing rotation again to another Eternal format. And so how do you feel about these type of products in regards to Commander? Was the question I posed to Aramis. And my thinking is this: if you're gonna do it, do it. If you're not gonna do it, hey Denver, thank you very much for the follow. If you're gonna do it, do it. If you're not gonna do it, then don't do it. And it's a bit much for me because Commander was always supposed to be cards you get in other sets that you can keep playing with in a fun and new and exciting way that's not as expensive as Legacy. And it's meant to be casual. But with Commander Legends and drafting, and every set now has 2 or 3 Commander decks, at the very least 2, and Warhammer's coming out, there's going to be like 27. And Dilla, I'm saying, here's what I say by rotation. I don't mean that cards rotate out, but I'm saying that what was really good in Commander, just, let's say pre-Commander Legends, okay, what was really good and what was really reliable as far as not even just competitive EDH, but even casual, is no longer, it's harder to play those decks now. Because you have Jeweled Lotus, Hull Breacher's gone, thank God. But, you've got other stuff coming in here. Omnath, even in a way, kind of introduced rotation in a sense. It's not rotation so much as cancellation. You're right, Parkman. And I kind of struggle with that because I'm like, Commander was supposed to be the one format where, kind of anything went. You only need one of each card. It was kind of great. So, I mean, what do you think, Aramis? How do you think things are going?
Is that your entire answer?
Probably not, but that's what discussions are about.
Because I disagree with you.
Boom! Yes, we have a combat. I played it twice. Go ahead.
You did play it twice. I have 0 issue with the Commander Legends sets.
Okay.
The problem I have is when they introduce cards that are, quote, strictly better or automatic super staples, like your Dockside Extortionists, your Jeweled Lotus, your Hull Breacher.
Well, Dockside
cards
came in as Commander Precon. It didn't come in.
But still,
Legends.
but still, there's a there's a reason the card is $80.
Right. Jeweled
because
Lotus
if you're
last
playing,
year was the big one.
Jeweled Lotus was huge. Three mana rock's not being played anymore. I mean, here's the thing. Commander doesn't rotate, and that has not changed.
True.
And the thing that you said about Commander is still absolutely true. You can do whatever you want. Commander is still the one format because it is a casual format, unless you're into CEDH, in which case it's slightly less casual, but you can still have a lot of fun in it. It's the one format where you can do whatever the hell you want. You want to build a deck that's based around every card having, cards that only have one artist on them, have at it.
Sure.
You can do that. You can really personalize the decks that you play however you want.
Sure.
And it's the one format where having fun is still the main purpose of playing, not necessarily winning. There's plenty of Commander decks out there that are like, hey, I'm probably going to deck myself, but it's going to be awesome.
Right.
I'm not going to win this game, but everybody's going to have a blast.
Right. And I don't disagree with that.
I don't think the Commander Legends set changed that at all. I think what they're doing, this one doesn't have as many of the raw power cards that Commander Legends 1 had. There's no mana drain.
Right.
It would be nice to have some of those cards in there just so they're not as expensive.
Shit, Fierce Guardianship.
Fierce Guardianship would have been fantastic.
Right.
That would have been a great reprint. But this one especially, the first one less so, but this one especially doesn't have these ridiculously powerful cards that are like, well, I have to play this card in every deck I have of this color because it's so obviously better than anything else I could use.
Correct.
But at the same time, it's still there where you can be like, I just don't want to use that card, and I'm still going to have fun. I'm not interested. Like in Commander, a good way to look at it, since you're playing 4 people, if your win rate is higher than 25%,
Right, which I think you and I are for sure.
So if you're winning 1 out of every 4 games, you're doing pretty good.
Right.
50%, you're probably too powerful for your play group.
Right.
But it's such a self-policing format in a way. Like the rules committee.
The rule zeros, the stuff is key, obviously. Yes.
Well, the rule zero, the pregame conversations, a lot of that stuff has to do with also how comfortable you are with the group. Doing those. Yeah, please reprint those cards. I want people to have them.
He's saying, don't reprint Dockside or Smothering Tide. I own those cards. I disagree with that wholeheartedly. In fact, I say reprint the entire reserved list.
I have many Smothering Tides, and I would love for them to be reprinted.
I have 3 Smothering Tides. I have 2 Docksides.
I think I have 2 or 3 Docksides, and I would love for them to be reprinted.
So would I.
But
so should fetches, and so should duels, in my opinion. But
kill the reserve list. It's still, if you're in a play group that you all know each other really well, and you know how each other they think and how they play and how they build your decks. Everybody kind of settles around one sort of like realm with their power levels. Like
sure.
Commander Craft, perfect example. I would say we are middle to high powered.
Right. We
not quite
get into this arms race. Usually,
not quite. It's not quite CEDH, and
right.
And I think the arms race is not as bad as some play groups can get. It's not cutthroat. Nobody's really jumped headlong into CEDH. I mean, we have some powerful decks,
right?
But most of us are of the ilk. Okay, I'm going to play this deck. All right, I got it out of my system. Let's bring it back down a little bit.
Right.
And we have our own way of self-policing where if a deck wins too much, it gets put away for a while.
Right.
But I don't have it. I think rotation is kind of a dirty word in this respect.
I'm using it the same way that people do when they're talking Modern Horizons now.
But it's
introduces
different.
rotation.
It's different though because modern is a competitive format.
Okay.
Modern is a format where if you're rolling in with whatever deck you want, chances are you're going to get crushed. In Commander, that's not necessarily the case. It's much more likely that you're going to say, hey, I'm playing this deck. I just put it together, and the rest of the play group will be like, oh, okay, cool. I'll bring this deck aside. It's too strong for what you're playing. This is a little bit closer to where you are, because everybody's goal, again, isn't necessarily to win. It's more likely to just, hey, let's just have a good time with 4 people, have a nice social gathering. If you're playing CDH, obviously you're going in knowing what to expect, and that's a different conversation. And it's not more cutthroat, but winning is a higher priority. Having fun is still high on the list, but it might not be as high as winning. Whereas in a typical casual group, they're like, hey, we're going to chill, have some beers, we're going to have some music in the background, have some pizza, we're going to sling some spells. And okay, yeah, it doesn't always work out great. People get salty sometimes. That's just the nature of Magic because, the game tends to piss people off.
Right.
That's what it does because some of the...
We've all had it. It happens on Commander Craft, people. If you watch us live, you don't have to go very far before even me, Aramis, we are not immune. There have been nights where I have just made Aramis ready to just, to Fairy's Protection. What? Ah! We've all been there.
It's not so much the Teferi's Protection as the Null Rod.
Yeah. Where do we watch these Commander games? Nightwings. We have a webcast we do every Wednesday on our channel, so you can go back and look if you're on Twitch.
7 p.m. Eastern time on Wednesday nights.
So we do some in store because we have a separate sponsor for the Commander Craft because it's a separate show, and then we do from this, and we do at least we usually play probably 1 to 2 games, depends on how long they go, but we usually get about 2 hours of content. We use Spell Table. You're more than welcome, dude. Hop into the Discord. We're always looking for players.
So let me just sum up my argument here.
Oh, sorry. Go on.
So
yes.
No, it's fine. I'm basically done.
Okay.
So what I think about the Commander Legend sets overall, first one was a little bit too strong.
I don't know.
Too many.
I did.
Well, there were too many cards, and it doesn't take too many. It's only 2 or 3 that kind of sour the rest of the set because these cards are so good, so much better than everything. Again, Jeweled Lotus, Hull Breacher. You can kind of, I mean, you can't really make too much of an argument for Jessica's Will. It's just a really good card. But there's a lot of cards in there where you're like, oh, okay, I guess I kind of have to play this if I have access to it.
Right.
This Commander Legends set is on the weaker side. I'm not going to say it's a low powered set or a poor set. I think there aren't as many or any of these super staple cards in there. I think there is a sweet spot, and I think
I'm hoping
they were
3
close.
hits it.
Well, yeah, I'm hoping 3 hits it. I think 2 was closer to hitting it than 1 was. Both of these sets are really good in injecting new cards into the format and opening up new strategies. There's a lot of new strategies that came out with these.
I'm going to say this. I think they missed it just as far as Commander Legends 1 did. Here's what I think might have happened. And again, I'm taking some of this from other content creators as well. MTG Goldfish, I listened to their podcast the other day. They kind of posited that, okay, if we look at where this fell, this is probably a result of stuff that they put together for, Forgotten Realms. That these were leftovers. Like that, so they kind of had the building blocks. And at that time, and it's obvious, if you look at, Adventures in the Forgotten Realms, Kaldheim, even some of Innistrad, the first couple, Innistrad and Innistrad, it's obvious that Wizard has laid off the gas, that power creep was going way too far, and so they laid off the gas. That's obvious. And if you look at Commander Legends had tons of power creep. We're forgetting 1,000 cards in our mind right now that impacted Commander when Commander Legends 1 came out. And Commander Legends 2, I think, is a result of them taking their foot off the gas. I think the missed opportunity is they should have done more with mechanics they already had. I would have liked to have seen them really gone after the dungeon mechanic, because you really can't play dungeons in Commander right now. There's still not enough support for it, and this would have been a perfect set.
The initiative mechanic in Commander Legends 2.
Oh, it's flavorful as hell. I love it.
From the two games that we played, it's a very powerful mechanic.
Right. And
Initiative is crazy. There was the second game that I played. Yeah, the second game that we played, me and another player were bouncing Initiative back and forth. We each completed that dungeon at least once, and the Undercity is a good dungeon, right. And I believe you can still use that dungeon for Venture.
Yeah.
Without having Initiative, but I think it's a nice twist on the Venture mechanic, and right. They had a lot of dice rolling stuff, and they used they brought back Myriad. Which was annoying. That mechanic is really annoying.
They could have brought back parties too. They could have pulled other cards that might have fell out from the last set that had parties in it, which was ZR, right? Zendikar Rising.
Zendikar Rising, yeah. I mean, one of the precons focuses on parties,
right? So, and that's a D&D thing. So again, yeah. I don't like how Wizards is kind of introducing rotation to a lot of legacy formats. And when I shouldn't say rotation, obsolescence, whatever, however you want to say it, I don't like that. Okay, now CL2 is not as big as CL1. Obviously, we can say that out loud. It's obvious. Yeah, and the power level.
And Commander's more resilient for that kind of thing anyway.
Yeah, I guess
it
because
is.
I don't really play Jeweled Lotus that much. But I mean, I definitely play Fierce Guardianship in every single deck that has blue. Like, it's in Braya, that's for sure. Because how do you not play it? There are some cards that, out of that CL set that have to go in, their auto includes. And I'm okay with staples. I think staples are fine. I do think they need to reprint. I think they need to reprint dual lands and gold border and say these are Commander legal only. Okay, you can get away with that. You've reprinted shit in gold border before. So even in black border, like if there's a list of staples, I mean, it doesn't have to necessarily be a coherent set. They could come out with these, like, I don't even know what you would call it. Could you imagine if they came up with a set called Commander Staples?
It's like an anthology set.
Yeah.
Where it's like, this set's not meant to be drafted. They'll only sell like, I don't know, set boosters.
Yeah.
So it's collated, it's curated. It's not really, you can't really play this limited experience. You get a pack of, I don't know, even if it's only like 10 cards, whatever. And you can get some alternate arts, you can get some alternate frames, what have you. And it's super staple. So, you know, you have a good chance of a Smothering Tithe or a Dockside or a Fetch Land. That would sell like
even
crazy.
If you're not going to do duels, fetch lands. And again, I
Shock
know
lands.
they're getting better about printing fetch lands. Oh yeah, Fierce Guardianship was for Mycoria, but it was a commander deck. And I thought wasn't Fierce Guardianship reprinted in CL?
It's never been reprinted.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Mana Drain was reprinted.
Mana Drain, that was, yeah. I mean, it's just a matter of CL was a really, really...
Vintage Magic was meant to be drafted DC.
Right. Well, I think CL was more sealed. Like, I think the pre-release was sealed. This was like Commander Legends, draft.
Commander Legends was meant to be drafted as well. The problem is it came out at the beginning of the pandemic.
Right, so it was just sealed, basically.
It was never really... People really didn't get a chance to draft it, and it was
because you weren't handing cards to somebody sitting next to you at that point.
Not really, no. And then also, too, I think there were also, you know, production delays and everything else. My one hope, I haven't really had a chance to look at it too much. I hope the foils for this one aren't as bad as the first one.
Did you buy a box? Are we cracking a box? I'm not.
I'm not interested enough in the set to buy a box.
Me either. So I mean, I could see us cracking a bundle, but I don't know if there are.
I probably wouldn't even. I think this pre-release kit's probably going to be the only boosters I buy of this set because I think these will if there's a card that
down in price.
If there's cards I'm interested in, I'll buy the singles. Because this is a set that's meant to be drafted, and it's only going to be legal in Commander and Legacy and Vintage.
Yeah.
So I don't play Legacy. I don't play Vintage. I only play Commander, and I'm not playing everything that set has to offer. So I guess in a very broad sense, this set isn't for me, I guess.
Yeah.
But
I do. I think if they were to make Commander Legends 3 Commander Staples, and you're going to have necessary reprints of, okay, fine, you can't do the duels. Put the fetches and the shocks in there. Put, you know, Dockside and, you know, all the stuff. Neverell's Disc and, you know, everything that you almost automatically put into a Commander deck if you have the colors for it. And, you know, you could easily make a 200-card set. You probably could charge $10, $15. You might even be able to get away with $20 for a 15-card booster for that set. And it would fly off the shelves.
It should still be $4.
It should still be $4, but Wizards doesn't do that. So
I mean, like these Commander Legends packs are not $4,
here.
And they should be.
I'm meeting them halfway here. If they print them into booster sets, again, if they print Dockside, if they print, you know, Smothering Tithe,
if they do, like I can feel better about a premium price on the booster pack if they commission new art, if there's new frames, new foil treatments. Things like that, because
Mystic Study, prime example.
Well, but just a flat reprint set. Those sets are cheaper to make. Right. The master sets are cheaper to make than a typical standard set. So the only reason that those packs cost $12, $13 a pack is because Wizards looks at the secondary market, even though they say they don't, and they know that they'll get more bang for their buck putting these cards in those boosters, especially when they upshift them to Mythic, because people are going to want, you know, it's like, hey, I could spend $15 and maybe get a Dockside instead of spending $80 and just getting the card.
Like if they made a Commander Staples set, you know Rhystic Study is going to be rare. You know they'll bump that to a rare.
Oh, it's going to be Mythic.
I don't know if they do Mythic, but they will definitely do rare. I think they make an uncommon into a Mythic.
It was a common.
Yeah, you're right. It was a common.
Rhystic Study was a common.
Yeah, that's an interesting.
And it's still $40.
Yeah. I mean,
they will upshift that shit to Mythic. I mean, I guess the one thing you look at is look at the secret lair that it was printed in and see what rarity it was there.
Right. That's a good point.
It was a rare in Jumpstart, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
So I can still see them upshifting that to Mythic. I can see them upshifting Smothering Tithe to Mythic just because.
And I get that, because Smothering Tithe is one of those cards that's, you know, amazing. So I love Smothering Tithe. It's one of my favorite cards. I have a playset because the only reason I have a playset is it was printed in Guilds of Ravnica or Ravnica Allegiance, whichever one.
Ravnica Allegiance, yeah.
I mean, and I think you and I both opened a shit ton of those packs.
I opened.
I think I opened at least 2 boxes plus a couple of bundles.
No, I opened 1 box, and I think I had 2 tithes, and I think I bought 1 more, and then it has been reprinted once. It was put into the Brawl deck, the Alayla Brawl deck.
You're right.
That's the only time it's ever been reprinted, and there weren't too many of those Brawl decks. So that's one of the reasons why. Like, the only reason some of these cards are so expensive is because they just haven't been reprinted.
Yeah, but don't forget, you and I too, we did open quite a bit of cards because back then we were working together. Oh no,
yeah, but
Ravnica
I didn't
Regents
open.
We didn't work together. Oh no, yeah, we did.
We did. That was right at the beginning of the podcast.
We were doing some sealeds. We were doing some. You and I would do a couple of.
Yeah, but I think over the course that I bought a box and maybe like another half a box worth of packs, but I didn't go too crazy with Ravnica Allegiance.
Yeah.
But again, that's the biggest reason why some of these cards are as expensive as they are. Like as good as the shocks are, they're only just now creeping up back to the $20-$25 range, and that's just because it's been a couple of years since they've been reprinted. We know they're coming in Unfinity, but that hasn't been released yet, and it's also a special art, so that's not really going to drop down the price too much.
And it's going to be hard to get them. Yeah,
it's going to be hard to get them, but that's the thing. It's like, I'm not necessarily saying that, okay, you reprint these things into the ground, so they're like Soul Ring, and it's like $1 to get them. Although, I mean, there are worse things that could happen, but reprinting them once every other year wouldn't be the worst thing. I mean, Dockside Extortionist at $25 is still a lot for a single Magic card. It's better than 80.
Yeah, especially the fetches and shocks. I mean, they're key to making modern. They're key for every damn format, with the exception of Pioneer.
Yeah, and that's the biggest reason they don't reprint them is because they know that if they do, that particular set will fly off the shelves, but then they won't have that bullet in their back pocket to use for another set that maybe doesn't have anything else good in it.
Right. So,
like, I think that was the big selling point for Zendikar Rising.
Yeah, it was and that was just the fucking box toppers.
Yeah, but you can get them in collector boosters too. But I bet a lot of boxes flew off the shelves.
Yeah, I think you and I cracked 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, I cracked 2. I cracked 2 regular boosters and at least 1 collector.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, and
it was great.
It was great.
And the same thing with the like what they did with the Mystical Archives. That has to happen more often. It doesn't necessarily have to be Mystical Archives. Doesn't necessarily even have to be alternate frames. But something like that, where it's a small curated list of cards that are powerful,
that are not the list. We don't want
that are not the list. They show up in every booster. That's where you reprint some of these cards.
That is not Divine Gambit. For fuck's sake, stop printing Divine Gambit.
They really banked on. They were really thinking that card was going to be something.
It was that, and seriously, Divine Gambit was the green dinosaur that they were putting in everything for a while.
Colossal Dreadmaw.
Yeah, Colossal Dreadmaw. He was everywhere.
But, like, here's the thing. Okay, as much as I bash Divine Gambit, there are situations where it is fantastic.
Really?
Those situations are rare.
Is it in your Yidris
there are situations
deck? 'Cause it seems like that would be a Yidris card.
No, not necessarily. Well, Yidris doesn't have white.
That's true.
So it's not a Yidris card.
Yeah.
And Chaos Warp.
I'm kind of annoyed because, I mean, I built the Bria deck I'm building. Part of the reason I'm building it is, I ordered the secret lair that has Atraxa and Yidris and Bria in it. And I didn't realize I had Bria. So I thought I was getting Yidris and Bria and just a really cool version of Atraxa. And I was going through my creatures the other day looking for a card, and I came across it, and I'm like, well, shit.
All I gotta say is that I hope you have a way to give that stuff hexproof, because you played a deck against Zakama. Those are a lot of tasty snacks.
There are ways to get my artifacts hexproof. Yes,
Brea is an artifact.
Yes, she is.
The comments gonna be over there just going nom 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 on Brea's head.
Actually, I got ways to get my stuff indestructible.
Oh yeah. There's plenty of ways to get around. I'm just saying, like, if
played
those
it
are
and
not
that
out, didn't happen, the buffet is open.
That would be a bad matchup. And of course, no matter how the rest of the board will look, you will look at me and go, oh, no, I need to take your shit out first.
Yeah, because you're going to have stuff on there that says, I'm just going to try to shut you completely off. Yeah, no, that can't happen.
It's not like I put Teferi Time Raveler. Oh, wait, yeah.
Doesn't stop instant activated abilities.
I know it doesn't. Oh, but yeah. So I think I'm not down on CL. I'm not. I'm just.
It's not as powerful as sets recently have been. It's not as powerful as the last set. I think it hits the mark they were aiming for. I don't think it hits the mark that other players were
hoping for. And I think that's I do think that Double Masters will see some of those reprints we need.
Oh, Double Masters is going to be disgusting.
I think Double Masters will have Dockside. I think Double Masters will
because
have,
I think Gavin is on, either Gavin or Mark are on record saying they want to have a foil version of Dockside available. Wasn't in Commander Legends.
No.
So the only other place it really could be, if it's going to show up in foil, is going to be Double Masters, which means they're probably going to upshift that shit to Mythic.
Yeah.
Although getting a foil Dockside would be pretty cool.
That would be kind of nice. So, and that means that they probably aren't going to be, a lot of people are like, they're going to ban it. I don't think they're banning it. In fact, they kind of went like, you're like, oh, I think if they're going to ban Dockside Extortionist because there's not as much help for treasures. And Wizards was like, hold my beer. So,
but don't forget too, Wizards are not the ones that ban cards in Commander.
Yes, I know. So, well, no, of course they're not. And they're also not ones that keep cards from getting banned in Commander. Oh, wait, Walking Dead. Which, at the end of the day, you know what? There was a whole lot of shit that didn't happen.
How many Walking Dead cards do you really see?
Negan. My Negan deck's kind of fun, but I should actually look in there. There's probably some cards I need. All right. So with that being said, I think that's kind of a show for us. Like, again, that's our combat, and I don't think anybody won. I just think it was a good conversation. Let's go to main 2.
Main phase.
And I'm going to go ahead and pass the turn, unless you got anything else.
You just activated Sundial of the Infinite.
Ah, yes. And I did Nexus of Fate. We're doing another episode. All right, so let's go to... All right, so as Aramis and I are rolling up our playmats, putting our cards back in their boxes, taking the pizza boxes over to the trash, because damn it, your mother still does not work in this Walmart. We want to remind you guys that we have an awesome Twitch channel where we stream all sorts of content. Just look up the PlanesTalkers Podcast channel on Twitch. You're probably watching us there right now if you're watching us live. And you can follow all the shows we do, everything we do. Occasionally, I'll throw stuff up there of other geeky games I'm playing. Little known fact, if you're one of our patrons using our Minecraft server, I think I said Minecast and Minecraft. That's funny. If you're using the Minecraft server, I am rebuilding that tomorrow when the new set comes out. Or the new release comes out. So if you're on there, let me know. And that mainly is Jake. Otherwise, check it out. It's at PlanesTalkers Podcast on Twitch. I also have my own Twitch. It's Mindcrime73, and you can see it there.
And if you'd like to interact with us in a more real-time fashion outside of the show, you can join our Discord at discord.planestalkerspodcast.com. It's a great community. A lot of the folks that are chatting today are on our Discord. They're active all the time, especially during our winter box tournaments, especially during when we're doing things with Commander. Just awesome folks up and down. So yeah, discord.planestalkerspodcast.com. If you'd like to follow us on Twitter, we do have a Twitter page feed thingy birdie. I don't know what they're called. What do they call those? Profile
Elon.
Accounts, I guess. Elon. Well, although maybe not.
Maybe not.
Maybe not. So anyway, if you'd like to find us on Twitter, we tweet about the show. We tweet when we're going live. Sometimes we tweet about other stuff. I've been neglecting it again. I got to get back on that horse, but I will.
How dare you.
I know. I'm such a terrible person. I don't understand this social media bull crap. It's at PlanesTalkerPod.
All right. And I have my own personal Twitter. It's at WR Benson. I'm only on there really to follow some of my more favorite musical artists like, Liberace and Lawrence Welk, people that have really made an impact on my life. But you can also follow us on Facebook. We're at facebook.com/PlanesTalker. Like and follow the page there. And don't forget, we do have our live playcast we do every Wednesday where we play Paper Commander live. This week, again, OG Commander Crafter Steve is coming back to the show. We'll be looking for somebody to sit in the 4th seat for Game 1 and maybe 1 or 2 for Game 2. Find out more. Just go to our Discord there. Tune into all of our channels Wednesdays around 7 Eastern to watch that.
Yep, and I will be the returning champion with Kurik, son of Yawgmoth, Mono Black Storm. So good stuff.
Good stuff.
I was not expecting the deck to explode the way that it did last week. If you haven't seen it, go check out last week's episode. I think it's up on YouTube.
Right, it is.
If not there, you can check out the VODs
too.
on Twitch. Yeah, you can check the VODs on Twitch. But yeah, good stuff.
Yes. So,
But finally, you can send the show an email. You were going to try to read my card, weren't you?
1 week off, man. I was like, you kind of did your own bit. So now I'm like, oh, but that says Aramis. I can't read that.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah, you totally threw me off because I'm sitting here looking at people that want me to get a shoe thrown at my head.
Oh, well, I totally endorse and support that product and or
Too bad I've relegated the wife to her office upstairs. She cannot throw shoes at me from there.
Well, I mean, I have her on Facebook, so I could just send her a message. Hang on real quick. Throw a shoe in. Anyway, yeah, email. You can send us emails. If you have a question or a suggestion for the show or just want to vent or whatever, there are 3 email addresses that you can send us an email. The first one goes to both of us. It's podcast@planestalkerspodcast.com. If you'd like to email one of us individually, you can email Will. His address is will@planestalkerspodcast.com. If you'd like to email me, the address is Aramis, A-R-A-M as in Michael, I-S as in Sam, @planestalkerspodcast.computer.
And on that note, we want to thank you guys for just hanging out with us tonight or listening to us in your cars this week. We will be back. I think next week we'll have a show. Monday night, we're again also back Wednesday night with the Commander Craft with OG Commander Crafter Steve. And for Aramis Perez, this is Will Benson saying again, thanks for listening. Thanks for being a part of our community. And we hope you all have a great and safe week. And we're reminding you to keep some of your mana untapped because you never know when you need it. Take care and have a good one. Bye-bye now. And we're out. Yay. So, yeah. Welcome to the post-game show. Those of you who are patrons and listening to this on your feeds.
Yeah.
So, dude, what do you... Now, all right, so we're 5 episodes in. Strange New Worlds.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Might be my second favorite Star Trek series ever.
It's my first... Well, not ever. It's my first... of new Trek.
It's my favorite of the new Trek, and I think it's not particularly close.
Yeah.
I was talking to Pam about this after watching episode 5 last week, and I was like, I don't know what it is. Like it's hard to put my finger exactly on it, but this is Star Trek.
Yes, it is.
This is Star Trek, and it's like it's nothing against Discovery, nothing against Picard, but I feel like if the writers for those shows looked at their shows the way the writers of Strange New Worlds looks at that, both of those shows would also be much better. Mm-hmm. Which isn't to say that they're bad. They're good for what they're doing, but it's fantastic.
I thought Parkman might have a problem with the Gorn. And that's just it. As much as you're enjoying it, I'm enjoying it more than you are. And I can guarantee that because you said it yourself. You haven't watched the original series. And there are Easter eggs throughout this entire show that go back to the original series. Like, you might have caught the bit last week when Spock was fighting Spock. You've watched the latest episode, right?
Yeah, I'm caught up.
All right. So the scene where he's fighting himself for T'Pring's love is a direct callback to another episode of Star Trek, complete with the music that was playing behind it. Because it's an epic scene where it's like... It's an epic Star Trek moment that if you watch the original series, if they had done it without that music, I'd have been pissed. Like, I was just like, yes, they did it, because, and again, it's a callback. And the whole T'Pring Spock relationship is a callback to that show. Like, I almost want to give you like 5 or 6 episodes for you to watch that I think they're going to refer to. Because some of TOS can get annoying. But
I mean, listen, if you can sit through season 1 and 2 and the Ferengi episodes of Deep Space Nine, I'm sure the original series is not that bad.
boy, the Ferengi.
I just haven't gotten
Ferengi
to it.
episodes either. Every time,
Most of those, it's like when I do a run through of Deep Space Nine and I get to those, I'm like, oh god damn it, it's one of these.
Every time I hear the voice of the Sicilian from Princess Bride as the Ferengi, I'm like, shit, this episode's gonna suck. Because it was Wally, I forget what his last name is, but it's Wallace whatever, and he was the voice of like the Nagus. And
He's Grand Nagus, Zach?
Yeah. So, same guy as I think the dinosaur in Toy Story. It's the same voice. And
Really?
Yeah. Like if you listen to it, that guy has a very, very Wallace Shawn. Yes, he has a very identifiable voice, and he was the guy who was like, you made one of the all-time classic blunders. The first one is never go up against a Sicilian, or first one is never go to a land war agent, but only slightly less well known is never go against a Sicilian when death is on the line. Then he laughs and dies. I love The Princess Bride. I haven't watched that in a while, but yes. Every time he showed up in DS9, I'm like, oh shit, this episode's gonna suck.
Yeah, I mean, there were one or two of the Ferengi episodes that weren't too bad. Like I liked the one where they went back in time.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And they were the ones in Area 51. That one was pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's just like the way like they were talking about like, oh, look how far the humans have come, and it's like the only thing that matters is like second quarter profits, and then they crash.
I love it, and I'm loving Strange New Worlds. This is what I mean. It's when you finish Strange New Worlds. Okay, I think Star Trek's off for a little bit. They might throw a Lower Decks.
Well, Lower Decks is going to be starting soon.
Okay. Even still, you owe it to yourself to watch the Orville, because what the Orville is Seth MacFarlane's like love letter to Next Gen, and him wanting to have that type of show back on the air. So he made his own universe. With instead of a United Federation of Planets, there's a Union of Planets, a planetary union. That's what they call it, and it's very, very good. The first season's a little rough because Fox was kind of like, you're Seth MacFarlane, so every line has to have a punchline. But then season 2, they kind of started to find their footing, and then it went away for 3 years, and then episode 1 of season 3 just came out, and it's fantastic. And I was like, it's his best Star Trek I've seen in a while, other than Strange New Worlds.
I mean, I'm gonna. It might be a little while for it because I'm gonna be starting to rewatch Strange New Worlds because Pam wants to see it.
It's a really good. I love Strange New Worlds.
To me, you know what really got me? The opening.
Yeah.
Opening hooked me.
The opening
music
is great.
and the shots and oh my god, it's so good.
Well, I'm loving some of the retconning they're doing. Now again, I get it, Parkman, the Gorn. I understand the Gorn. I'm kind of with you on the Gorn. In that regards. And again, if you watch old Trek, you'll understand a lot of that. They were like a very, very big thing of old Trek. But for the most part, the other retcons I'm living with, man. I like, I love the episode where it's revealed that, number 1 was is an enhanced person.
Valerian.
Yeah.
Valerian, is that what
yeah, yeah. But she's, if you watch the episode of DS9, they always talk about the augmented persons, and because, I mean, again, because Bashir was one, spoiler alert, but the show's about 20 years old. If you ain't seen it,
not really spoilery at this point.
But it would explain why she's not on the show when Kirk takes over. Like that's probably going to be what's going to wash her out of Starfleet. Is
let me ask you this. This is I guess just who's your favorite character for Strange New Worlds? Who's the ones who anytime they show up in a scene or they talk in a scene, you're like, okay, I like this character a lot.
That's hard to say because I like number 1. I gotta say it's the Doctor. I'm digging the Doctor just because he's so out there, and I like Pike, but you're gonna like Pike. Everybody likes Pike. What about
Mine's
you?
Nurse Chapel.
Yeah, I like her too.
She's funny.
Yeah,
and she's just like she's got the way she delivers these lines and just the look in her face and the way she uses her eyes. It's like she has like a really intense stare.
She does, And
but she's very playful.
yeah, and she's not doing an impression of Gene Roddenberry's wife, which I think is fantastic because Nurse Chapel in the original show was Madge Barrett, Troy's mother on Next Gen.
Right.
Played
Yeah, the
Nurse
voice of the
Chapel.
computer.
Right.
Yeah.
How often will we see Sam Kirk? I don't know. Did Sam recover yet? I too like Uhura. I like what they're doing with her, seeing her be a young cadet. I like Nurse Chapel as well. The scene with her and Spock does a lot to set up the original series as well, because there was a storyline where she had a thing for Spock. So that's what I mean. There's things in the original series you're missing Easter eggs that are there for you. I don't
mind.
Yeah, I know.
I don't mind. Like I enjoyed how silly they're willing to be still.
Yeah.
When they did the whole body swapping thing.
Well,
with
when
Spock
he's
and
like,
T'Pring.
when T'Pring is like, I have no tolerance for hijinks. I'm not saying we're doing hijinks.
Hijinks may be necessary.
I was like, that's.
I laughed out loud a few times during that episode because it's obviously, Trek has a lot of serious stuff in it,
right.
but they don't take themselves too seriously, and that's like how Star Trek was sometimes.
That was the voyage home. That's what everybody loved about the voyage home.
Yeah, big things happen, but every now and then, hey, you just gotta let your hair down, just have some fun, and they're having. You can tell
they're having fun with it.
You can tell this cast is having a lot of fun with this show. You can tell that they're already really like
tight.
There's a good chemistry with the cast. Like there's good chemistry with the cast in Discovery. There's good chemistry with the cast in Picard.
But I don't think there was. I think that's why they got rid of most of them and bringing the Next Gen back.
Well, I think it was good, but it's not as good. It's not as obvious as it is with Strange New Worlds. These guys are having a blast.
Yeah, and
I think I think the writing has a lot to do with that. I think the way they're taking the show has a lot to do with that. I don't know. It's so well put together, and you do kind of wish that
watch Star Trek. It's what it is. It's the problem I've had with Discovery and Picard is I think that those writers' rooms, if their exposure to Star Trek was just the films, then guess what? You only think Star Trek is an action series that, sometimes has to spoon feed an audience to make itself more approachable. Strange New Worlds is like, no. Trekkies are nerds, and there's shit. And if we just sprinkle little Easter eggs in, that buys us a whole lot of goodwill for when we screw it up. And they're absolutely right. And yeah, I agree. I think Stan will make a Strange New World appearance, though. But I don't think he'll be a suitor of T'Pring. I think she'll just notice. There'll be a moment where they'll do a little eye look at each other, and it'll be like they'll look at each other long enough for us to know what's happening. But I mean, and I'll say this: Ethan Peck it goes Leonard Nimoy, Ethan Peck, and way down here Siler Spock. Like, I don't like Zachary Quinto as Spock anymore. I'm like, give me Ethan Peck. Yeah. So
they did a good. They've done a really good job with this show. I always look forward to new Trek. I don't care what it is.
Right.
This one is really. They've hit a home run with this one.
Yeah.
And I think they had already renewed it for season 2.
It is renewed because they're bringing Vampire Diaries in as Kirk. So that's big news, and he's not coming until season 2. They'll probably end season 1 with James Kirk. So that'll be their big shot.
Who's Vampire Diaries?
There's a dude from the Vampire Diaries who's playing Jim Kirk. So it's already been put out there. Yeah. So they've already shown, and here's the thing: he looks like a young Shatner. He absolutely does. I'm for it. I'd love to see Jim Kirk on the bridge, not as a captain, as like just a lieutenant who has to take orders, and absolutely give me that. So
well, and I like the way they've done the modern take on the classic uniform.
Mm-hmm. And I agree with that too. Yeah,
they've taken as much of original series technology, fashion, and everything else as they could, and gave it a 21st century refresh. And it looks great. And I think for me, that what really gets me involved in this show is that Discovery's good, Picard is good, Strange New Worlds is good. Strange New Worlds, since they are a little more episodic and not quite as big story arcy, my biggest gripe with Discovery is always every season there's this one big bad that only Discovery can handle. We've talked about this before.
Yes. And it's the end of the world. It's the end of the
universe unless Discovery figures this out. And it's like, isn't Starfleet supposed to be more than one ship? I mean, I get the whole we're the only ship in the quadrant thing. That happens so freaking often.
It happened in almost every movie because I'm listening to a podcast.
And it's going to happen. Yeah, and it's going to happen in Strange New Worlds because, duh,
right.
Starfleet was smaller back then. But still, like, it's still about the ship.
Yeah,
and maybe it's just because it's the Enterprise. You know, maybe that's just part of it. There's like, you know, as soon as you see, you know, the 1701, you're like, okay, this is going to be good.
And I kind of feel the same way. I too am like, okay, if you're going to do serialized television, Rick Berman was right, and he wasn't right about a lot of things, but he fought Ron Moore and Bear as much as he could because they really wanted to do like a season-long arcs. And Berman was like, no, this is not a serialized show. It is an episodic show. People come in, they don't need to, you know, and they kind of got away from that with the Dominion War, and they kind of struck the right balance at DS9. But then you see Discovery, who had a season-long arc, and then 2 had a season-long arc, and then season 3, and then Picard has one, and Picard's second season does. Berman was right. There has to be a balance, and I think Strange New Worlds is kind of walking that tightrope. You know, they're
walking the tightrope. They're leaning more towards the episodic, but there is an overarching storyline.
Right, and that's where I think where Good Trek is going to head. Because you can't do the Knight Rider type of television show anymore. This isn't 1980. Okay, we can't have Michael driving away every week into the sunset only to come back next week to a different girl and a different problem. It doesn't work. DS9,
I think DS9 hit the perfect balance for Star Trek. Star Trek being episodic, yet also long story arc, because Voyager was a story arc too. But they were kind of pigeonholed in the way they did it because they were stuck in the Delta Quadrant.
They kept getting like they got a little above themselves when they wanted to do the Year of Hell. Because I listened to that podcast because they have Paris and what's his face talk, and they were talking about Year of Hell, and I know this for a fact that they wanted the Year of Hell to be season 4.
Supposed to be one season. That would have been cool.
It would have been cool, but
I would have been all for that.
You couldn't do it. They were like, you can't do it. And I discovered something else about the Orville, about why I like the Orville so much. Do you know who's an executive producer? Brandon Braga. He worked on Next Gen, he worked on DS9, and he worked on Voyager. So that's part of it too. But the only reason I bring the Orville up is it's so much Star Trek, it's not even funny. But yeah, I want to see more of this. I'm hoping Picard season 3. I think they have to go serialized for that because I can't imagine they're going to bring the entire crew on in episode 1. I imagine that the first 5 episodes are going to be getting the band back together. You know,
because this is supposed to be the farewell tour because they're not going to do another season after this.
Well, and I love it. I was listening to some interview and they're like, here, the reason they're doing this and why Patrick was really about it because he didn't want to bring everybody back originally, but somebody went to him and said, you know, Nemesis wasn't fair. You had a director who didn't want to make a Star Trek movie, and they knew it was the last Next Gen crew. They didn't get the sign off. They didn't get, you know, anything, and so. That's when, you know, Stewart came back and he's like, yeah, you know, bringing everybody back here, we'll do one more season with the whole thing, you know, and that's what I'm hoping Picard, that's all they got to do to nail Picard season 2, 3 for me is give me the end to Next Gen.
Yeah.
Give me a satisfactory ending to Next Gen.
Yeah. Wrap that thread up. I think one of my biggest gripes with Picard is that the pacing of the show is for a man in his 80s.
Yeah.
Because Patrick Stewart is a man in his 80s. So they can't do, if they're going to do the action, it's slowed down a little bit because there are a couple of points like in those last couple of episodes when they're fighting the Borgified, you know, Navy SEALs.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you mean to tell me that Picard could move fast enough to dodge those things?
Yeah. Well, I had problems with that anyway because I'm like, Picard was never a shoot 'em up, beat 'em up he beat you with his mind.
No, he was like the intellectual
Yeah.
Indiana Jones.
Yeah, and it just, again, I really feel the writers of Picard and the writers of Discovery haven't watched a freaking hour of Trek, and the writers in Strange New Worlds have. So I'm hopeful, but yes, I you know what? I think we've talked enough on this.
Trek is in a good spot.
Trek is in a very good spot. So, patrons, I hope you dug this little thing. I am going to have a ride home with Will. I don't think I'll ever put the one out I did on Picard and Strange New Worlds 1 because it was 2 hours and I don't want to edit it. But I probably will put up the Orville one I just recorded the other day. I'll put that up in there. And that's probably how I'll give you guys Orville content, because if you like Star Trek, odds are good most of you like the Orville. And so, but since Aramis hasn't seen it, I don't want to spoil him, but I got thoughts. So, and if you like Star Trek and you're caught up on the Orville to season 2, spend the $15 on Hulu for a couple of months. Go watch Orville season 3. You will not be sorry. I guarantee you will not be sorry. But on that note, we will see you guys Wednesday night for Commander Craft. Patrons, if you want to play, hit us up in the Discord. Let us know. Otherwise, I'm going to open it up to everybody tomorrow morning. So have a good one, guys.